Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Smart Kasi Vibes, and I'm your host, Kakano Sidupan. Today, we're going to be talking about something quite important, something you encounter every day, something that you see every day, and something that you hopefully taste every day. It's called food. We're going to explore how food in the Kasi communities can yield a whole range of opportunities as we try and evolve our Kasis into smart Kasis. So if you're interested in this type of content, please do consider subscribing and let's get into the video. All right. So now that you're here and that I have your full attention, it would be interesting for you to know that the food and movable consumer goods industry is a 563 billion rand industry, of which the township informal food industry is about 158 billion of that. Now, with the rising costs of inflation, food price inflation at 13.4% as of 2022, this has led to a strain. Households are probably finding it difficult to, meet their monthly grocery targets. And so several companies have started what I could call food tech startups, which provide and deliver food to township, communities at possibly affordable rates, eliminating the whole transport situation that ordinary Kasi people would have to endure in order to get their grocery for the month. So, we're going to be discussing such interventions and how they're important for building a smart Kasi. Right. So, the food industry in townships is very different from urban areas because consumers form long-term relationships with, your local spaza owner, and whether that's a South African spaza owner or a foreign spaza owner, we have this, very fond relationship with them. So you'd find people calling their local spaza person my friend. It's a very common phenomenon, and they have this, trust and repeat customer build up where if there's a quota place at a specific township or whatever the case may be, there's almost this, family type of, situation around how these people interact because they know your family, they know your mom, they know where your mom works, they know a lot about you, unlike urban retailers who just know your first name because of smart shoppers and stuff like that. But we're not here about urban retailers. We're here about spaza retailers. Now, this would mean that the movement of food in a Kasi community is rather essential, and it's an important business opportunity because a few are already taking advantage of it. In Cape Town, you have a company called Yebo Fresh, and in Joburg now recently, there's Spaza Eats. So I'm just going to discuss how these two companies really impact how the forgotten informal market has been sort of re-energized and re-accessed through this possibly good technology. So they basically undercut Uber Eats and these other Mr. Delivery type situations by delivering township local cuisines to the doorstep. Foods such as your kota, your mouth-watering chisanyama, basically to the doorstep. But these establishments, the kota place and the chisanyama place, might not be eligible or, suitable enough to be placed on an Uber Eats app. So then these, other companies which are operating in the townships know their market and know the needs of their township communities, and so they deliver food, fast food, that is relevant to their Kasi community, right? So this basically allows spaza shops to reach a wider market, and they they can do this because of the transportation of their foods. So it's basically what they call a hyper-local approach. A hyper-local approach would be what secures the success of these companies because, according to the Trade Intelligence Report, engaging with and investing in the secure supply chain into the informal market is basically how they'll reap, returns of that investment. So, in a sense, the hyper local approach is the one that works for this type of, food tech business. So, I want to talk quickly about how this model works, right? So this model cannot be a replica of Uber Eats because then it won't work. Because Kasi dwellers need a different approach. It's not a copy-paste solution, but I'm positive, and it has been stated that within about 3 years or so, urban retailers might be looking at options of how they can tap into the township market in terms of food deliveries and things like that. So things to consider are the ease of use. That's number one. The second one is the data, the mobile data consideration, and then navigating the sometimes inconclusive addresses of our informal townships. So those are some of the things to look at when you venture into the food space of things. So let me quickly interrupt myself here and say that these food tech companies are not only providing businesses like spaza shops with a wider reach of clientele, but they're also providing opportunities for employment for, i.e., the drivers, the packaging guys at the stores and spaza shops. This creates a double-sided economic upliftment approach, which reduces inflation drastically because inflation is driven by, amongst other things, high unemployment rates and the lack of business. So I think this is fascinating. It's actually commendable. All right, back to myself. And also, it's important that the trust is developed and nourished between you know, the food delivery service in the townships as well as between the customers, because if you don't develop that sort of trust, because I told you that we have a very familial bond with our local spaza shop. So if that trust or that familial fiber is neglected within the approach of these food tech companies, then it might not go as far. So it only goes as far as they are able to hyper localize, right, and really tap into the needs of their immediate community. So the opportunities are endless, as you may imagine. But also, I'm interested in how we can improve then the health overall of these township communities, because with Yebo Fresh, for instance, they provide, houses and sometimes businesses with these goods on a daily basis. And through delivering these items and in bulk, they save businesses a lot of money on, the cost of going there. It's a time-consuming thing to go out and pick your own groceries and things like that. So those wholesalers and businesses can basically make more money in the township rather than spending all their time going to bigger wholesalers trying to get stock, right? So this is how the Kasi community can be enhanced. This is how we can ensure that, quality groceries are being delivered to our township communities. That's number one. And also another idea that struck me is that because these are just emerging markets in the township space, there's also opportunity to do several other things in this space, because if we want to develop a smart Kasi must also be a healthy Kasi, so that it's not just a smart Kasi based on the technological advancements and ease of convenience that it has, but it also has to be a Kasi that is sustainable enough to continue, to outlive previous generations, etc. So in this way, health becomes an important pillar. And so if we can package healthy, pre-planned foods that can be cooked by the middle class, people who just come back from home tired, most of the people that live in our township communities are 9-to-5 workers of this economy. And so if you can save them time on how they cook for their families, but do so in a more healthy way, we have a smart kasi. We have a kasi that is, healthy, making better choices for their families, so that, yes, even though they indulge in the kasi delicacies, they also have an opportunity to have, fresh food for their family with the appropriate nourishment. And so that will help us a lot, because if Woolies, DoorDash, and 60/60 and these others can't really reach that part of our society at the affordable prices that our societies need, then we need to come up with our own. And we've done so, right? We've done so in the country, and I'm really impressed by these two businesses. Smart, well, they are smart businesses, but they called Yebo Fresh and Spaza Eats. So this is encouraging, right? So if you do have time, check out their websites or whatever. And yeah, that's about the end of the video. If you enjoyed this content, once again, please do consider subscribing, like this video, share it with someone you may like or love, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.